All right, so we're at the end of June, 6 months into the year. Hopefully you've been smelling good this entire year, but I figured it was time to give you my top 10 clones inspired by whatever you want to call them for the year so far. So this is my list of my top 10 clones, inspired by, take-ons, whatever you want to call them for 2025 so far. All right, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, and this is SmellGoodz. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit as we run through more of this fragrance stuff that we're all enamored with. All right. Like I said in the little teaser, opener, whatever you want to call it, we're at the halfway point for the year. Lots of stuff has happened as far as fragrances, lots of new stuff, lots of stuff that is still on the radar to check out and pick up. Some new things dropped within the last couple of weeks. I know there's there's a new Raazi just recently dropped. There's a new Hawas recently dropped. But I figured it was time for, at this midway point of the year, to give you kind of my top 10 fragrances, clones I should say, for the year so far. Now, yeah, I hate doing it, so I'm not going to put it in any particular order of this is my number 1 versus my number 10. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to give you 10. Actually, I'm going to give you 11. Really, because I'm going to cheat a little. There's 2 fragrances in here that are doing the same thing. I like them both, so we're going to call them 1A and 1B, or 11A, 11B, whatever you want to call it. All right. So that's kind of how we're going to do this today. All right. So again, not in any particular order, just how I pulled them off my shelf and just what's closest to me. All right. So first one up is from French Avenue. This is Liquid Brune. This is their take on Altair. And yes, even though it is the middle of summer, even though we are 110, 115, 120 degrees, yes, it still is making my top 10 because I kind of can't wait till we get back to cooler time frames to break this out. This, just that orange and yeah, it's just, this is a fragrance that I'm looking forward to wearing again as we get into the cooler months, but it definitely is on the radar and definitely one of my top 10 fragrances as far as clones for the year so far. All right, next one up is one that has been really on my radar and really kind of making it through this summer. We're talking from Al Haramain. This is Amber Oud Aqua Dubai, and this is their take, their twist, whatever you want to call it, on Imagination. All right, you can tell I've gotten this earlier this year, and you can see the dent in this. So this is actually being worn. I'm not just talking about this. This is being worn. This is to the office. This is running around. This is just in and out, all around type of thing. So another one on the list, number 2 on the list, is Aqua Dubai from Al Haramain, Amber Oud. All right. Next one up is one, I don't know that I've talked about this a whole lot. I wear it occasionally, but it is one that I'm enjoying when I do wear it, and I probably will be breaking it out a little more. But this one is from the House of Paris Corner in their Emir line. This is Celestial, and this is their take on Ganymede. So with this, there's a mineralic notes in this, but you've also got, I know there's some saffron in this. There's a little leather cord in here as well, or suede. But this, just a nice, smooth fragrance. The fragrance is, if I can be honest, it can be a little polarizing. Just some people love it, some people don't like it. I'm of the mindset, I really enjoy this. I do like this. And it is one of my top 10 ones for the year so far. I picked it up at the beginning of the year, I think it was. Wear it occasionally, not as my daily scent or as a, throughout the day scent, but it sometimes makes it as my evening scent or my going out scent or whatever it may be. But this is, again, from Paris Corner, their Emir line. This is Celestial. All right. Next one up, we're going to do the one that we're giving you a twofer. All right. So these are both doing their twist, their take on the same thing. First one up, of course, is going to be Supremacy Collector's Edition from Afnan. This, of course, is doing Absolue Aventus. I think this is more of a twist on it, but it is definitely one that is getting worn a lot. In fact, yeah, I don't think I'm probably about halfway down. I don't know. But when this gets gone, it is getting replaced. All right, so there's that one, and then its cousin or whatever from Armaf. This is Club de Nuit Prichot #1. This is also doing its take on Aventus Absolue. This is, I think, for me, this is more of a clone as opposed to collector's edition. Is more of a twist, in my opinion. But yeah, these are also on my top 10 list because they're doing the same thing. I kind of 1A and 1B them. You're getting a kind of a bonus there as far as me giving you my top clones of the year so far. All right. Next one is one that for the winter, early spring was probably one of my most complimented fragrances. It is one that I do wear. Look forward to getting back to wearing it again, especially when it starts to cool down. This is from Lattafa, and this is the Kingdom. The Kingdom. This is their take on is it JPG Lamel Elixir or Lamel? I can't remember which one, but y'all know. All right, but this compliment magnet projects, last, good performance, all of those things, and it is one of the fragrances that of my clones, out of my covers, my remixes, definitely one that is one of my top ones. So again, from Lattafa, we have the Kingdom. All right, next one, and when I got this late in last year, early part of this year. This next one, it is, for me, this comes off as very nice for like date nights. This comes off very nice for times out with that special person. More of those social settings where it's a little different than just we're hanging out, even though it can work for just hanging out. This to me is a nice evening scent. Definitely works in the cooler time frames, but it is another one that when it starts to break cool, this joke is getting broken out. This is from Lattafa. This is Mashrabia, and this is their take on Smoking Hot, if I remember correctly, from Killian. Yeah, you got that apple accord in there, a little smokiness with it. Yeah, this is one, again, didn't get to wear it a lot, but definitely when I'm going through my collection and saying what are my top 10 ones that if weather was not an issue, not in consideration, would I be breaking it out? Would it be one of my ones that I would grab a lot? This would be one. All right, so again, this is from Lattafa. This is Mashrabia, and in fact, you can probably get this right now. I've seen this a few times at Burlington, so something you might want to pick up, especially as we're in the summer. When it starts to get cool, you might want to have this sitting on the shelf, macerating, getting nice and good, so that way you can break it out. All right. Next one up is one that is one of my, this was a blind buy, but it was a blind buy because everyone was talking about it. And rightfully so. I think it does a really good job of cloning what it's cloning, and the line itself has some hitters. In fact, there's another one I just got. It's not right now because of when I'm filming this. It's not included in my top 10 of the one that's back there as far as Full House from this line, but this one has had time to be in my collection and definitely has had time to make its way solidly in my top 10. I'm talking about from Game of Spades, from the Joe Milano Game of Spades line. This is Wildcard. This is their take on Lafayette Street. This one here is I love the versatility of this one. This one, in my opinion, you could rock this in just about any scenario, any situation, any weather, right? This just works as a fragrance that, for me, very versatile, but it's not a blue fragrance, right? We normally talk about or think about blue fragrances as being very versatile. This is not a blue fragrance, but it is a very versatile fragrance. One that I've worn in a variety of situations and will continue to wear in a variety of situations. In fact, gave one of my coworkers a decant of this just because he's like, he wanted to check out clones because all he knew right now was buying, retail. All right. But he's like, man, that one right there, he's like, his girl was like on him. His girl was loving it, loving the smell. So he's like, where can I get it? Hooked him up. Right. But as far as making my top 10 of clone cover remixes, this one right here definitely had to be in there. We're talking Game of Spades, Wild Card from Joe Milano. All right. Next one, I want to make sure I don't miss out on any. This one definitely is also starting to, especially this summer. Granted, I just got it in spring, but it is one of my favorites right now. I don't know if I've talked a lot about this one as well. There have been others that have been kind of overshadowing it this summer, if you will, but it is one of those, if you know type fragrances, but I think a lot of folks are talking about this anyway. I'm talking about from Khadlaj. This is Island, and this is doing a take on another Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance, and it works. I don't know about you, but I'm getting good performance on it. I've heard some people say that they're not getting good performance. Sorry, you have those problems, but for me, I'm getting pretty good performance. Not beast mode, but I'm definitely getting nice performance. It's not going away quickly on me. But this is another one in my top 10 and something you should check out, especially before the summer ends. Khadlaj Island, really good for this time of year. All right, and then the last one is one, I think, oh no, I've got two more. Let's go with this one right here from Lattafa Vintage Radio. This is their take on Paragon by Initio. Versatile fragrance. That plum in there works really well. Yeah, this performs extremely well off of skin, off of clothing. I've worn this to the office. I've worn this just out and about. I'm kind of, again, I've talked about it before. I didn't get it when it first came out, or when I first started to hear about it, just because I couldn't find it for the price I was looking for, nor could I find it when I found the price. It was out of stock. But when I found it and got it, definitely fit into the rotation, definitely worked as a fragrance for me to work with and have some good times as far as just wearing. So from Lattafa, from their Pride collection, this is Vintage Radio, makes its way also into my top 10 of cologne fragrances for the first half of 2025. All right, and then my last one is one from a house that is becoming a favorite house as far as cologne cover remixes, but they've also started branching into doing their own original fragrances. We are talking about from Yom and Leon. You can play it there, and you can see this is Raazi, which is their take on Jadub. And part of the reason that this is in my top 10 is because I love the fragrance. I love the OG. I love Jadub from Mind Games. It is one of my grail, my holy grail fragrances from the house. Something I do plan to pick up a full bottle of the OG from. But in the meantime, while I'm working to get there and figure out if I want to, how I want to do that, or find the right deal on it, this is doing a great job of getting me very, very close to it. And one that right now is getting worn when I'm in the mood for that Jadub fragrance. Again, from Yom and Leo, this is Raazi, and this is also in my top 10 as far as clone cover remixes for 2025 so far. All right, so now notably, there are some fragrances that didn't make the list, not because they're not great, not because they're not good or anything of that nature. It really was just, okay, how do I pare this down as much as possible to a top 10? I'm looking around just to make sure, because I got a few fragrances on my desk. I want to make sure I've given you the 10/11 that I want to give you, right? There are some ones that didn't make the cut, not because they're bad. I mean, you think about honorable mention, 9 p.m. definitely is a top fragrance as far as cologne cover remixes. But for me, I'm not wearing it a lot right now, so that's why it didn't make the cut. Trying to think what else. There's some others that are in my collection that are doing great jobs, but just I had to narrow it down to 10. All right. So hopefully you found something in here as far as fragrances, choices that might be things you might want to check out, especially the ones that are coming up for the fall and winter. Definitely want to get those on your radar, get those on your shelf and in your collection. That way they can be really ready when that first cool, brisk evening hits. All right, that's it for this one. Do me the favor, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good. Check the comments, or excuse me, check the description for any discount codes that might be useful for you. Also hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notification, share, meet me in the comments, and then see you next time. Videos here and here, check them out. Have a great one, be blessed. Peace.